Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Mr. Efeni.
Let's start with these days newspapers. The lead story, comfort for Obaseki postponed. Oshiomhole survives as appeal court freezes suspension order. Buhari APC governor suspend NEC meeting. National Working Committee meets today. Well, let's just look how other newspapers are reporting the APC crisis. Yes, Vanguard, APC crisis, Oshiomhole survives. Appeal court halts execution of suspension order. High Court approves Gyandam as acting chairman while APC postponed NEC meeting. Governors at loggerheads over legal requirements. Anger as anti-Oshiomhole camp lawyers splits. Gyandam unfit to sit in NWCC's Omo Agege orders. Of course, the Nation newspaper, Oshiomhole survives, while the Daily Trust, APC crisis, why Buhari governors postpone NEC meeting. Appeal court rules on Oshiomhole's favor. Embattled chair to attend NWC today. The Punch newspaper, Oshiomhole, Buhari shifts NEC meeting as APC governors engage in shouting match. Appeal court leaves embattled chairman suspension. Court gives Gyandam go ahead to become acting chair. A lot happening.
Topsy-turvy.
Yes, but for now, the intervention of the president, at least that meeting with the governors on both sides of the divide, seem to have brought some respite to Adams Oshiomhole, suspended at world level, embattled at the state level, where he's at loggerheads with his godson, the governor, reprieve at the Supreme Court at last, at the appeal court. So,
but the substantive suit, unless
yes,
it's withdrawn, the respite is temporary.
Is there. Perhaps this cooling period, if you will enable a political solution to be explored. Don't forget that there is the BC Akonde committee that is supposed to reconcile everybody. But even at that, there is still suspicion, because those who are for Oshiomhole, of course, we know the Oshiomhole has the support of the leader of the party, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is very close to Akonde. So if his intervention does not favor the other side, whether they will accept his recommendation is another matter altogether. So,
oh dear.
Well, you know my position on this matter. I think that the All Progressives Congress, as I said previously, has not been able to manage its success, its victory in the 2019 general elections very well. Two, I think that, party politics has been reduced to individual egos, personality conflicts, and that will not allow for internal democracy. And it is harvest time for the ruling party from what happened during the 2019 general elections, when internal democracy was not allowed, and some persons tried to hijack the machinery of the party. We sincerely hope that with what happened yesterday, with the Court of Appeal still keeping Adams Oshiomhole there, that the leaders of the party will use this opportunity to mend fences. But the question arising from that is, how much longer will Adams Oshiomhole be able to hold on to his position? Because what is clear is that his presence now divides the party. I think at some point he himself must come to the realization that he may have to just step down and allow the unifying factor and allow the party to move on. Definitely there will still be a strong role for him to play, and the president is in a position, to find a good landing for him. The president dispenses patronage. He can move from being chairman of the party to something else. So our advice to the leaders of the APC is that this must not be a do-or-die affair, because it's becoming a do-or-die affair. And the more they do it, the more they divide the party. And they should learn from the experience of the People's Democratic Party. It was circumstances similar to this that led to the implosion of the People's Democratic Party and the loss of that party, the defeat of that party in the 2015 general elections.
Perfectly put. I completely agree with that.
Well, but in the meantime, there are scores to be settled. There's a governorship race in Edo State and Ondo State. And the two governors who are seeking second term are on the other side of the divide against Oshiomhole. Can they settle the rift or find a solution before the governorship primaries? Because that is where the APC usually get into troubled waters,
yes,
as we have seen in recent times.
Exactly.
Yes, let's move on. The Daily Independent, where the lead story, confusion as appeal court reinstates Oshiomhole. But beneath, the second lead, federal government suspend plans to borrow $22.7 billion. CUPP drags President, National Assembly, orders to court, warns China international agencies against granting Buhari loan. Yes, this is attributed to the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, who yesterday in Abuja gave this revelation that it has suspended, as the federal government has suspended its 22.7 loan external borrowing plans due to the current realities in the global economic landscape. I don't know if we're ready to part with that kind of amount of money at this time. And she was speaking at the 2020 International Conference on Nigerian Commodities Market, organized by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So those who have been angling that they are not part of the spending of this loan even before it was obtained, they will also hold their fire. Those who are saying, look, don't grant the nation, well, they can now hold their peace also.
I don't even want to say all's well that ends well.
Honestly.
Do we need the loan or we don't need the loan?
This is the issue. It's one of those difficult ones.
Yes, okay.
Well, but as someone pointed out on this program, and that's Mr. Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State, and I think also Bismarck Rewane made the same point, Mustafa Chike Obi made the same point, Chilewa Adebajo made the same point on this program, that the problem is not with borrowing.
Yeah.
The problem is what you do with it.
Exactly.
If you are borrowing for conspicuous consumption, then there's a problem. If you are borrowing to regenerate the economy, and to create opportunities, then that's not a problem. So I think that principle needs to be restated.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, the Nigerian Tribune, this to gladden the hearts of many across the globe, if indeed. U.S. begins first human trial of coronavirus vaccine. Chinese billionaire donates 6 million masks, 1 million test kits to all African countries. EU to impose 30.
That's Jack Ma.
Yeah,
of
Jack Ma.
Alibaba.
I was actually looking for his
Yes.
statement there.
Jack Ma.
I think that's a very good gesture.
Excellent.
He believes that if this coronavirus explodes full blast in Africa, we may have certain difficulties.
Yes.
Yeah.
And testing is a problem because
Testing
it's so
is
expensive.
It's a very key
It's over
aspect of
$1,000 to
containment.
get
Yeah.
tested.
Yeah.
And this is a
COVID-19.
great help. If you look at the
Yes.
figures broken down, because I'm looking at the statement that he put out, in every single country, or 54 countries, 20,000 testing kits, 100,000 masks, and 1,000 medical use protective suits. That is a
It's a
huge
lot.
help,
Because
Thank you,
your average person cannot afford $1,000. It's over $1,000
Thank
for
you.
a COVID-19
And what we were saying
Well-
today earlier about the fact that those who actually need testing are not getting tested, So at the end of the day, they're limited. So we need people, we need the private sector to step up like this and help people that don't have that availability. This is great.
Well, I think while we commend Jack Ma of Alibaba, we should also commend someone like Alhaji Aliko Dangote of Nigeria, who pledged, over 200 million naira as his own contribution. And since he made that pledge, I've been expecting other Nigerian billionaires, particularly those who showcase their Rolls Royces on Instagram, to also make a contribution, because this is a time when the country needs them. And I think we should also commend all the sports figures, including Serena Williams and others, who have made donations to the battle against corona. And it's quite ironic that it's Jack Ma, who is Chinese, who is also, providing support for the United States. And yet President Trump goes on Twitter and he talks about the Chinese virus or the foreign virus.
Disgraceful.
I think that's unfortunate. What Jack Ma has demonstrated is that, look, this is an issue of global concern.
It's a global response.
It's a human problem, and it has no nationality.
Exactly.
Well, but I have to say about Alhaji Dangote, it must be said that he is just a separate breed, isn't he?
Yeah.
So kudos to him, but he stands out always.
This is a pledge.
If any, you two can make a contribution.
No, wait.
Yes, you can.
Perhaps when Alhaji Dangote redeems that pledge, other billionaires will follow. We want concrete...
But do we always see that pattern? That's the thing. We don't have that pattern. I recall even when Dr. Cole came on the show, before we had a coronavirus outbreak, and she was like, we have to call on our billionaires to step forward and do something, Because it does seem like a lot of the time, Alhaji Dangote is one of few that actually do step forward and donate. I'm sorry to say, or the only one.
No, there's also Femi Otedola,
who
has also made contributions to worthy causes. There's Tony Elumelu, there's Jim Ovia. But what we're just saying is that all of them should wake up. Coronavirus is an all-of-society challenge.
Yes, but if the system has given you so much, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes, like you. The system has given you so much.
That's also a good point.
Please give us part of your millions.
Not in cash.
But don't let me reveal your secrets.
No, let's leave that.
About your hidden millions.
Don't allow these kidnappers to look for me. I don't have millions, Ruben. Now, let's just move on to to UK. Still on the coronavirus. The Times of UK, Britain in lockdown. Biggest curbs on daily life in peacetime. And of course, if we look at the Daily Mail, Britain shuts up shop. Prime Minister says, avoid going to all pubs, restaurants, and non-essential contacts. Then millions told to stay at home for at least 12 weeks. Without isolation, corona could kill 260,000.
Wow.
That's in the UK.
Thanks,
and
Mr. Efeni.
I think that also applies to a lot of
Britain shuts up shop. Life has been put on hold in the United Kingdom.